It's Friday, March 9th, and welcome to Coffee with Sean.
Coffee with Sean.
We're launching Cycle 28 today, and Dave just got round, and so we're going to have a coffee. So we thought, because we haven't reached out to millennials very much, and since I use a Chemex, we thought this would be a really good way of getting some millennials to know about the game. So first I'll get this set up, and then once we get set up, we'll talk about what we're doing today. The first thing, I'm using a Chemex, and I'm using the paper filters. So some people like to use the Able cone, which is like a metal filter.
So why do you go paper?
It makes it taste different. So I've got the Able cone, but this will take some of the oils out, which makes it taste different. I quite like the way that the Chemex makes it taste.
Okay. So for those millennials like myself who have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, what is a Chemex and what does it do?
A Chemex is a really good way of making coffee.
Okay.
I think it was designed by a chemist.
Okay, makes sense.
So you can tell it kind of looks like something a chemist might design.
Yeah.
So the first step is to wet the filter and to rinse the filter because paper tastes horrible.
Right.
So you don't want it to taste like paper. So for this. And it also warms the actual Chemex itself.
Why?
Because you don't want your coffee to go cold.
Okay. That makes sense. And this is a particularly special coffee morning, isn't it, Sean? Because of the release of Cycle 28.
Yeah, so it's releasing at 11. So what's the time now?
What's the time now? The time is 9:35. We're doing this nice and early, getting that early morning coffee in.
Notice how, with this filter, I put the thicker part of the filter against the side of the Chemex with the spout in it.
Okay.
Because you want the water to go through evenly all the way around. And so that gap there would change the flow. But full disclosure, I'm not an expert.
You're not a trained barista, Sean?
I've had some training, but that training made me discover that I wasn't very good.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, but I quite like, I think I like the process of making coffee.
It turns it into a science experiment, right?
Yeah.
So I can see why you might like
water's
that.
Water's boiling. So the coffee we're brewing today is a Brazilian pulped natural yellow bourbon from Has Been.
Okay.
Trying to get in and
Yeah.
Is that focusing?
It's focusing now. Yeah, focusing. So we can see that. So that's in the cup. Expect hot chocolate with hazelnut and a jammy Dodger aftertaste.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're interested in enjoying good coffee, this has got the roasted date on it.
Oh yeah.
So this was roasted on. Is it
focusing now? There we go. Yeah.
Friday, 2nd of March. So it's the 9th today. So it's really fresh.
It's a week old. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which will makes it taste a lot nicer.
Also,
we're grinding it right before we're going to use it. Yeah. So I'm doing 50 grams of coffee because there's two of us.
Okay. Is that math check out?
No. 30 grams of coffee.
Okay. That would have been strong, presumably.
Yeah, it would have been not right.
Okay.
But yeah, so this felt like a good idea, and then I realised everything that is involved in making coffee is loud.
Yeah. They can turn the volume down. That's fine.
Yeah. So what are we doing today? Because this video, we're going to put this video on Steam when we've done it.
Yeah.
And edited it. So what are we doing today?
So today's all about just making sure we're on top of things like Let's Play videos, blog posts, reviews, making sure that lots and lots of people are hearing all about what other people think about Cycle 28, not just what we think about it.
We've already had, there's already 3 Let's Plays on Steam.
Fantastic.
And we've had 1 review by Gamers with Jobs.
Gamers with Jobs, just like us.
Yeah, it's really good because they do reviews based on I don't have much time to play games. So it's good to they do a good job of saying, hey, this game is good if you've got this much time, or this game is good if you've got that much time.
That's a great way of framing it, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. And what did they say about our game, Sean?
They said pretty good things about the game.
Pretty good things.
What did they say? They said we got some nice quotes.
Yeah.
They compared it to the Frazzers a lot, and in a positive way, which was really good.
Yeah.
They liked the upgrade system.
They did.
A lot of the videos have said they like the upgrade system.
That's great. Because that was a big talking point. We made a video all about it. In our beta testing, there was lots of discussion about the upgrade system.
Yeah.
And go on.
Yeah, we almost cut it. Basically. Yeah. We almost went the normal route of get 100 points, get 200 points, get 300 points. But the way it is you beat your high score. I have had one person, so I got an email from someone who said they were playing it until 3 a.m. this morning, and their video's going live at 5. Okay, cool. Chris is his name. I can't remember his YouTube handle. Okay. But he was I think the upgrade system's going to be divisive because he got that kind of golden run, and then so he's been struggling to get upgrades, but he was playing until 3 a.m.
Yeah. So that it will feel real good when you unlock an upgrade, and you've really worked for it.
Yeah. So I'm using a Baratza Vario grinder. Yeah. You're not going to be able to quite get here, but that's fine. Yeah. I'm doing it on 7 on the coarse setting and like O on the finer. So it's going to get loud now. Okay.
That looks like a well-loved grinder there, Sean.
Yeah, so there's one problem with those grinders, which some people have. I have that problem, is that when using it for espresso, the actual the thing that sets the grind actually falls down. Okay. So the beans push it apart, especially if you're roasting like a lightly roasted bean. They're quite hard. Okay.
So what are you doing now?
So now I'm putting some hot water in the mugs.
Yeah, warming mugs.
To warm the mugs.
That's something people don't do enough, right? In coffee.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's funny because you want your coffee to stay warm, but actually you can taste the coffee better when it's cooler. Okay. So I guess it's just to slow that down because everyone does it. Everyone does it. Your coffee would go like properly cold if you put it in a cold mug. Okay. Your coffee would just heat the mug up, right? Yeah. So yeah, I think early reviews have been positive, which has been good. Obviously. Yeah. The Nautical Suit did a really good Let's Play.
He was going wild on that game, wasn't he? I guess that's just that's his vibe, which is great. But yeah, he was loving it.
Right. So I'm using a Bonavita gooseneck kettle, which was an actual kettle, but it broke. So it's now just a gooseneck. It's now like I need to heat the water up somewhere else. Like some people say that you need a very precise temperature, but I tend to just boil it and let it. Okay. We're having coffee because we want to drink coffee. So the first step is to do a bloom, and I've got a timer, so I'm going to set the timer up. And I'm going to put in 60 grams of water, which those of you who are scientists will know is 60 millilitres of water.
Wow. Yeah, I would have never got there, Sean.
Yeah. So do you want to come and look at this?
Okay, right.
You need to... Yeah. So in theory, what's meant to be happening here is the water is hitting the coffee and it's releasing carbon dioxide. Right. If you don't let it do this, what people say is the carbon dioxide will be around the coffee bean, like around the particles of coffee, which means that it won't extract as well. Okay. So you do a little bit to start with to get it, can try and get that gas out. Okay. And you shouldn't actually use coffee that's really freshly roasted because of that reason, because there's lots of carbon dioxide in it which will inhibit the extraction process. Okay. So when you see these fancy coffee shops that they're like, oh, we're roasting the coffee and putting it straight into the whatever they're putting it into, that's kind of a gimmick, and I'm not sure it's always a good thing. Now I suck at this, so this may or may not work well. I'm just pouring the water in here,
so that whole thing is a skill, the amount of water you put in and when.
There's a skill about how you pour it in, doing circles, and I tend to go for pouring it all in and letting it go down, whereas some people, they will put a little bit in, let it go down, a little bit more in, let it go down.
So a bit more of a process.
Yeah. Okay. We want to be targeting 3 to 4 minutes, I think. Okay. For the whole pour, I tend to, whenever I do it, I'm just, like I said, I'm not very good, so I tend to grind a bit coarser, because I know that my pour is going to be too long.
Okay.
So then hopefully you don't get an over extracted coffee. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just quietly smiling behind the camera here, thinking. Sometimes I just put the instant granules in and pour some water on it.
There was a joke version of this video where I was just going to get out another birds and after setting up all the equipment, but I thought that would be a bit mean.
Yeah.
So okay. Good reviews.
Good reviews. Yeah. Coming in.
So what's the plan for today?
Well, I mean, we're gonna make some coffee. It's gonna be great. We're gonna drink said coffee, and then I think we're just gonna. Well, I don't know. You tell me. Actually, you tell me.
So we've got a press release.
Yeah.
To post.
Mm-hmm.
So we're releasing at 11 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Greenwich Mean Time. So there's a whole thing of like, when's the perfect time to launch?
Mm-hmm.
For us, that's when we get the most traffic actually. So looking back over the last month, like on Fridays, we start getting a peak traffic at 11 a.m.
Okay.
And I think that's because that's when the East Coast are waking up in the US.
Okay.
I think so it's a sweet spot.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out people actually do things before they get to work.
Okay.
So if we get it up there, then people who've got it, we've got a healthy number of wish lists.
Yeah.
They'll get an email, and so hopefully they'll convert.
Convert. Nice term there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're doing okay. It's 3 minutes. I like I said, I'm not. This is kind of partially a coffee tutorial video, but like
more just how Sean makes coffee.
There is better, but there are a lot of better videos on the internet on how to make coffee. This is just what we're doing at the same time.
I'm just intrigued to watch it now.
Yeah. So I kind of have screwed up, I think, a bit because you can see there's like areas where there's no coffee.
Oh yeah.
Which means that it hasn't necessarily gone through, and so it's going through at the bottom. But I think I'm relatively pleased with how this has gone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the pressure of the camera, and all that kind of, and presumably this whole process, the more steps you put into it, the more kind of variables you add in, the more each cup is going to taste slightly different.
Yeah. Well, I think the idea of like having all the variables is consistency, because that's the hardest thing with coffee.
Yeah.
Is keeping it is making it good every time. Like you can make a good cup of coffee, but how do you repeat that? And that's when you get a bit sciencey with it.
Yeah, or kind of massive corporation about it, right? Like
so that's the Starbucks way. Is then we just roast every bean to beyond recognition. You don't even know it's a coffee bean anymore, and then we'll just put lots of
sugar in it.
That's not enough. We'll put milk and sugar in it so that you can't taste this coffee anyway.
Let's not forget the caramel.
But then I like that. So
you're a fan of Starbucks.
I'll go to Starbucks and but I'm not going there for coffee. I'm going there for a kind of almost like a hot milkshake. Really. So there's lots of, the word is out on whether you squeeze the bag here.
Okay. Yeah.
I think because we've gone to 4 minutes, I'm not going to go overly mad because maybe it's a bit over extracted in there. But what's interesting about pour over is if what you could have done is if we had a different setup, we could have started the pour over and been catching different layers. So put a cup under, move it, put another cup under, move it, and you would get all the different flavor parts of the coffee, like the sourness, the sweetness, and everything. You would taste those individually.
Okay.
But what you have is all of it mixed together in here. And so the last bit of the coffee, so most of the flavour will have been extracted, and then all you're getting there from is body, really. Which on its own doesn't taste very nice. And on its own, most of those things don't taste nice, but mixed together they do.
Sure.
So we're going to be posting up videos as we find them.
Yeah.
If you happen to watch this video on Friday and want to chuck us, if you find any videos, let us know. Or if you've made a video, let us know. Reviews help. So any kind of review, telling other people, reviewing on Steam is super helpful for us.
It's really important, these days, isn't it?
So who knows what's going to happen today? But I like that review that we read and Nautical Soaps. Let's Play was almost enough. That was a really in terms of we made a thing.
Yeah.
And people that are enjoying that thing.
That's an amazing
staying
feeling.
Up until 3 a.m. That's great. So let's have one last look at this coffee.
Okay.
We're not going to taste it now because we won't be able to taste it because it's too hot. but we'll tweet about how nice it tasted, shall we?
And the important thing, Sean, is there's going to be no milk added because we're not having a hot milkshake, and there will be no sugar added either.
Sugar, no.
So we're kind of purists in some sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So thanks to Has Been
Mm-hmm.
providing and roasting the beans.
Thanks, Has Been.
If you want to buy good coffee, I've tried other places and I always come back to Has Been.
Fantastic.
They didn't pay or promote or anything.
No, that's unsolicited
Yeah.
marketing for you. There
So
you go.
yeah, go check out Cycle 28.